Okay, so we'll give some people some time to trickle in because it is just now 7:00, but I want to go ahead and introduce Lisa. I've been looking forward to this webinar. Lisa is she's become one of my good friends, both professionally and personally, and she is the face behind this Organic Girl. So if you guys don't follow her on Instagram, you have to. She's always giving tips and tricks, and I'm always following and looking at the products she suggests. And your newsletters, by the way, are killer.
Thanks.
Send those to me. I watch all the documentaries you talk about, the podcast, the articles, the product. I'm like, do you just do it once a week? Here's the highlight of the week.
So I do a Friday fun email, which is basically 10 to 15 bullet points of it can be anything from how to talk Bostonian to check out this new documentary or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of what's going on in wellness, kind of what tickles my fancy. Any kind of deals that are happening or whatever. And then I try and do another email once a week of just let's talk deodorants, let's talk skincare, let's some more broader topic.
And you did an awesome article on Retin-A, which hopefully we'll get into that because that was I loved that blog you wrote. It was awesome.
Yeah.
She's also not only doing this Organic Girl, she's in a soft launch with a company called Clean Beauty Test Kitchen, which I'm going to let her tell you guys about that. I'm super excited about that as well. But Lisa, first kind of tell us what got you interested in clean beauty, and then tell us a little bit of how this Organic Girl has progressed over the last, how many years have you had it?
4 years this January.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it kind of evolved from when I had my second baby. He was born with a case of eczema. And so I was not green at that time. And I just went to the doctor and they prescribed him steroids, but the steroids started bleaching his skin white. I mean, he was only 4 weeks old and I was putting steroids on his hands because they were just raw and red. And just my mom gut was just there's got to be a better way. And so after just, when you get like that, you start talking to other moms and you're just what are you doing? What can I check out? And so come to find out, 18 months later, I realized he had a dairy intolerance. And so I'm sorry about the ding. I don't know how to mute my computer, but also not mute you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Too.
Okay. And so I got really mad about that because I was like, why do I have to be the one to be the mom and the doctor? I go to the doctor and I feel like you should take care of me. Now I'm at home trying to diagnose my son and now we're doing strip his diet of everything and then add stuff back in. And so that really pissed me off. And I just wanted to have a conversation about it. So I jumped on Instagram to do that. And I thought I was so original, but meanwhile, people are doing that. It's called being a social influencer. I was like, oh, I didn't make this up, or I thought it would be a good place to be because you can share pictures of your dinner or whatever you're eating. And then I met a girl online who does the same thing as me now. And she was like, you should start a blog. And I was like, that is so dumb. Who sits in front of a computer all day long and types articles for fun? I'm like, I don't have time for that. But then I started a blog. I didn't actually know that could be a full-time job. So at the beginning, it was more just a passion project, but it's evolved over the years. And now it's my full-time job. I mean, I do it 40 hours a week. I actually just hired, I'm going to say it's my first employee, but it's actually a contractor for 20 hours a week to help me with some of the admin stuff and everything. So it's grown and it's legit now, which kind of happened under the radar for me, but I'm just so excited that I have this job of discovering new products and sharing them. I mean, really the mission of this Organic Girl is to help women make educated decisions about what they put in and on their body. And so really the format is, I just want to give people the awareness and honestly, what people make their own decisions on their own time. If you eat Doritos or you eat green juice, I don't care what it is, but as long as you know through and through what that decision is that you're making, then that's at the point where I want to bring some awareness, because if you're not looking into what it is and I'm not looking into what it is, none of those companies that are making the cereal or making the paint, they don't care about our health. They don't put our health into the equation of their bottom line. And so that's where I really just want to be, is talking about what to be aware of, what to consider. But the final decision is yours, and I 100% support that, and just it's mine. And so if I'm at the airport eating a bag of Lay's on a weekend when I'm laid over and I've been awake for 36 hours and it's the only thing I can find, and somebody's like, oh my God, she's eating a bag of Lay's. I'm like, yeah, I am, because I'm in survival mode right now. So
love though about you, Lisa, you're like very like 80% super clean. Like I know your house, the way that you're water sourced and your beauty products and the lotions used regularly and the deodorant, but like 20% of time you have for when you can't control the environment, can't control the situation. And I think that's so key because so many people can get so obsessed where it really impacts their quality of life, their opportunities to travel, their experiences. So you just do such a good job of finding that blend and balance, which I love that about you. And it comes from a non-judgmental heart. You're like, this is my passion. I want to provide this education and do what you want with it, which I love that about you.
Well, I always say, it's not the thing that you do once in a while that's going to kill you. It's like the thing that you do every single day that's going to have a major impact on your health. So it's like if you're getting into a car with an air freshener in it every single day, guess what? That's going to make an impact.
Yes.
If you happen to wear your favorite perfume once a month on date night, guess what? That's not going to make an impact on your health. Like it definitely is just, making smart decisions.
Yes. I love that. I love that. And how, just curious, did you find that dairy was an issue with your son? Was it just elimination?
So yeah, it was, but I didn't even know that was a possibility. I joined like an organic moms group on Facebook for like my local area. And somebody had said like, it might be a dairy issue. Well, like if you look up eczema these days, it's like, it's probably dairy. I mean, it's so prevalent now that that's usually the root of the problem. But it was me just asking questions in like a Facebook group. And so we sorted out, we took dairy and gluten out for 30 days. It went away in 2 weeks. By 30 days, his skin was gorgeous again. And so then we decided to give him a piece of toast and nothing happened. And then we gave him a piece of dairy and it kind of got a little bit inflamed again. So that's how we knew. And so today, like, it's hard having a kid who's dairy intolerant because, birthday parties with a pizza and like mac and cheese and just like all those things that kids love. Like I hate always just depriving him. So he's allowed to have it like once in a while, if we go out to dinner or a birthday party or something.
And that makes a big difference with food sensitivities is like not having that exposure all the time. Just like when we talk about clean beauty, I think is huge. And I think too, like, I love that you started your business from a passion. Like it was like, I didn't even think it would turn into what it was. Like it was something you were passionate about, which I think fuels so much success for people. So I think that's amazing. And then one of the things I feel like we can't see as well in this lighting, but Lisa has gone completely gray. So you guys need to follow her on Instagram and see, she is like rocking the gray hair. She's got bringing gray shirts back and it's beautiful. So kind of tell me what the inspiration for this, like, was it just part of the 4-year journey of this organic girl?
No, it really was unrelated. Well, it was inspired, I guess, but mostly, so like my first article on this organic girl was an article called Organic Hair Dye, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And basically, I mean, people say, oh, I use organic hair dye. I'm like, there's no such thing as organic hair dye. It's basically, there's one component that changes the color of your hair. And that technology has been the same for over 100 years. There hasn't been any new technology. So if your hair dye is working, it's from the same PPD substitutes, rescorsenol, aminophenols. It's like all of that. It's the same thing that's working. So what organic hair companies do is they may reduce the amount of those chemicals slightly, or they may add in, fairy dust components, which is what the industry calls it. Like, let me sprinkle in some shea butter and call it organic. And so, it's a big farce out there. And like, here's the thing. I said the one thing I will never compromise on is dyeing my hair. Like I will dye my hair until the day I die. I mean, that was me. I literally wrote that in a Facebook group. I was like, I will eat organic chips, I'll eat organic chicken. I will never stop dyeing my hair. I don't even care. But then I was like, oh, what? Maybe there's a better alternative. So I found this alternative called hair print, which is made from 8 food grade ingredients. It's insanity. I mean, it's so crazy, like brand new technology. It works. It's a little bit finicky to get to work, but I did get it to work. I used it exclusively for 14 months, but it's a DIY project. And I just got sick of that. Like I was sick of doing it at home. Hair print.
Okay, I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, it's good. I have before and after pictures on my blog and stuff like that. The owners actually flew me out to San Francisco so I could meet him and he would show me how to apply it and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and I met the scientist who formulated it. It's a guy named John Warner. He's out of Massachusetts. So I really did like an in-depth dive on that hair product. I love it. I still support it to this day. But for me, I got to the point where like, okay, decided I wasn't going to use conventional hair dye. Then I was like, let me find this hair. I used hair print for about 1.5 years. And then I was just like, I hate doing it on my own. Like I'm in the sink like this. I'm just like, I miss the salon. I want to go get pampered. Like it's mama's time. So, I was like already considering maybe I'll stop dyeing my hair. And I said it out loud to my husband one day and he was like, you totally should. And I was like, what? Like, I totally didn't expect him to say that. And so then he got my wheels turning, but I was like, I'm not doing that. And then I was like, maybe I'll do it though. And so then right when I decided to do it, I booked a hair appointment the same day and like went and got my hair dyed at an organic salon. But now in retrospect, I call that like my breakup sex. I was like, I just went back one more time to like for some closure.
And then you were done.
And then I was done. That was the last time I took a picture. Cole was with me. We like took a picture of me getting my hair dyed. And
do you remember what day that was?
That was like maybe 3 years ago, maybe right about now, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Your hair grows fast.
Well, I mean, it's been 3 years.
Wow.
I would say at about 2 years, it was probably to my chin. That's when I got my final haircut of like the last dyed bits cut off.
I love it. And people can buy your shirts on your website, right?
Yeah, so I have a tab called Shop This Organic Girl, and I have some natural living t-shirts, like all natural all the time, which is cheeky and fun. I have another one that says represent, and then I have some gray hair one that are just like gray, GRAYTEFUL, grateful, graceful, just like fun. And you know, I was at Nordstrom one day, and like the girl behind the cashier was like, "What does that say? Is that like a band?" I'm like, "No, it's about my hair." She's like, "Oh, okay, I love it."
And they're like organic, softest shirts ever.
Yeah, they're organic, they're fair trade, they're like non-toxic, dyed printed, the whole works.
From this organic girl, of course.
Obviously.
Well, I think your hair looks fantastic. So when you did hair print, like how often did you have to do that? Would it last like a month or was it?
It was the same as like regular dye. So I was at the point where my hair is growing. The whiter it gets, like the easier you can see your roots. And so I was doing conventional hair dye every 3 weeks. And then I was doing, when I switched to hair print, I was doing that every three weeks. It was like the same time frame. Yeah.
Gosh. And then when you started this Organic Girl, you were doing more kind of like comprehensive clean living, right? And you've kind of gotten more into the clean beauty as your niche. Yeah. Was there anything that kind of persuaded that, or was that where your passion mostly was? Or like, what made you really kind of narrow down on the clean beauty side?
Yeah, I was never really into beauty. I mean, I was the girl that would buy 1 bar of soap and use it for my whole body, my face and everything, like Dove, 9-pack from Bath and Beyond. But what happened was like I started talking about clean living and stuff on Instagram, and then like beauty brands started reaching out, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll try that. Yeah, I'll do that. And honestly, like I was that girl where when I realized there was toxins and everything in my house, I went berserk and I became a recluse, and I stayed at home. I didn't go out to eat. I didn't leave the house. I like ordered beetroot powder from China and then like try to mix it with some shea butter to make my own blush. I mean, I was like insane for like a solid month. And then I burned out and I was like, I can't live like this. And so then when I started finding alternatives that actually worked, I was like, oh, so I don't have to live like that? Cool. So eventually what happened was I found a passion through experience. And really what I like about Clean Beauty, it's an opportunity to have this conversation through this channel, but really it's a broader conversation, you know? Yeah. But also, ever since I started using Clean Beauty, I swear to God, I'm like some Benjamin Button going on over here. So I'm like, I'm in. Count me.
I love when you put the side by side of like when you got married. Was that 10 years ago or 11 years ago?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. And then like current photo. And you guys, she is seriously looking younger. And that was actually one of my questions I want to talk to you about, so we can get into that now as we're talking about this. But you've never done Botox. You don't do any of those things. And you were just looking younger and younger and younger. So kind of jumping around, but if there were 3 things that you would say to women that are really trying to focus on natural anti-aging, like what are 3 like top things, ingredients that you think they should look for?
Okay, I would say the first thing to consider is if you're using any sort of like soap as a cleanser, foaming soap, bar soap, anything that kind of foams up, generally speaking. Ditch that, because that's just drying your skin. And really what happens is when we age, you know, when we're born as babies, you know this, Kristin, like we're what like our cells are 96% water or something. When we die, when we're 96, like our cells are like 26% water or something. So the aging process, what it is water loss over time. Yeah. And so when you clean your face with a foaming cleanser, something that's going to strip the oils from your skin, that's taking the moisture out of your skin, and that's like prematurely aging you. So I would say one of the best things you can do is clean your face with an oil. Does that sound horrible? Like, does that sound scary and like
Well, you had me doing that. And when I made that change, people were literally commenting on my skin. They were like, Kristin, you're glowing. And so I 1,000% agree with the oil cleansing.
Yeah. So I would say make that your number one switch. So you can use, if you want to just go budget, you can use straight jojoba oil. Like you can get off that Amazon for like $8. And jojoba is like a natural cleanser. And so what you do at night, you just squirt a little bit into your hand, do this, rub it all in your mascara, everything, and take a warm cloth and just wipe it off, and then do it one more time. So the first time is to take off your makeup. The second time is to actually clean your skin. So that's going to be your cleansing routine. When you wake up in the morning, you can just splash some water on your face, or you can do the jojoba oil again. If you're looking for something more decadent, you can DM me. Like, I don't know, I have a million favorite cleansers. Yeah. But so yeah, that's number one. Number two, I would say also free. Well, jojoba's not free, but it's like an $8 investment. Face massage. So like with your Lisa Eldridge, I should have got queued up the link. I could have popped it into the chat. She has a face massage tutorial on YouTube, and it's 20 minutes. So you can watch that while you're watching your Netflix. And she takes you through like a face massage routine. And that, like when I wake up the next day after massaging my face, I have discharge in my eyes. Like I can see my face basically cleansing itself, like detoxing. I can tell my lines are filled in a little bit more, and it does. It like fills in your fine lines, brings circulation to the skin. Your lymph, which is underneath your skin, is basically a stagnant puddle of water, which picture that. That's where disgusting grime grows. So when you move the lymph away, what happens is your skin gets flooded with new lymph, and that brings like new nutrition, new everything right to the base of your cells. So you're able to feed your skin from the inside out as well as the outside in for what you put on top of plate. So I would say
like a jade roller works as well as massage, or do you think the massage is better, or is it similar?
I mean, for the lay person, face massage is going to work probably a little bit better. I mean, you're doing the roller like this, but really when you get in there with your fingers and everything and you're like doing all this stuff, I mean, yeah, it's just as good.
Okay. Look up, says Lisa Eldridge. Is that what you said her last name? Okay.
And then the last thing is like recently what's going to make a change in like maturing skin is retinol. And so like you want to choose a clean retinol. A lot of people think like retinol gets a bad rep if you like looked at ingredient research or anything, because it's been shown to like it's not good if you're pregnant. But really what that is, it like overloads, it has the possibility of overloading the fetus with
vitamin A,
retinoic acid. But like your body produces a natural retinoic acid, so it produces just as much as it needs, so it doesn't need more. And so like you just don't want to expose the baby to more. But if you're not pregnant, there hasn't been shown really any concerns about it. And what it does is basically clinically proven to reduce fine lines, stimulate collagen growth, like the whole nine. I have before and after pictures on my blog, and I can like you can see the hyperpigmentation is less even just after 30 days of use. It's really beautiful, but you want to choose a clean one because conventional retinol has been, formulated with parabens and, fillers and all that stuff that's like not going to be great for your skin and body. So you want to choose one that's been formulated with like, nourishing oils and supporting phytoactives and stuff like that.
Does the natural retinol cause as much like, kind of sloughing off of the skin? Like, did you see that your skin, like the old cells were dying off, or is that more with the prescription Retin-A that has all those toxic chemicals in with it?
Yeah, so it's interesting because through the studies that we found, so I wrote this post with a microbiologist and beauty chemist. And so through the studies we found it actually, like, if you look at your skin before using retinol, it's kind of like it can be frayed. After you use retinol, it's like it's stronger. Yeah. And so it's not really breaking down your skin at all. It's not really making it thinner. It's not really exfoliating it that much. But what happens when you get a prescription strength, it's too much. You can get some irritation. So the percentage of Retin-A that's in it. Yeah. So like, I mean, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Percentage, the retinol itself can be preserved as a raw material with things like BHT or BHA, which are on the California Prop 65 list as like no good. But then you can get other retinols that have been preserved via liposomes, which is just like an oil sac. And so that's like a better option. So if you want to get to the nitty gritty of it, but yeah, there's definitely better options that you can choose percentage wise and formulation wise, for sure.
Okay. I've got to try some of the liposomal retinol. I'm going back to your blog. I'm going to order some of the ones that you talked about. Those are amazing. So we kind of jumped around a bit, but one of the big things and why I love what you do with clean beauty is people forget that the skin is the largest organ and that what you put on it, you absorb. And so like even talking to people that have gluten issues, they never thought about the gluten in their beauty products or, different hair products they were using that was impacting them too. So I just think it's huge, this whole clean beauty and being aware of what you're putting on your body. And a lot of research shows, and you may have found even some newer statistics, that the average female puts 186 chemicals on their body before they leave the front door, like not including the tap water that they're drinking or the plastic in their water bottle, like just what they put on their body to get ready. Is it that number even higher? Have you seen any? I'm just like,
I mean, I feel like it's so subjective, right? That's an average. So, I mean, nobody's really in your house looking at you being like, well, your number today is 86.
Blows my mind though. But when you really look at like a shampoo, how many things are in it, a deodorant, how many things are in it, like it adds up so quickly. But I meet with a lot of patients and they're like, Kristin, it's so daunting. Like, do I just throw everything out and just start over? Like, what are some tips that you have for somebody that's just wanting to enter into clean beauty? And they're like, I'm using a toxic deodorant, toxic shampoo. Like, where do you recommend starting?
Okay. Well, if you're in the city, most likely you may potentially have a green beauty store in your area. Like in Atlanta here, we have Fig and Flower, and we also have Aaliyah, which is a great place to just go in and browse. You can touch, feel, try the products. So that's a great way to just feel like safe in a space without being like, sometimes I'm even in Whole Foods and I'll see ingredients in Whole Foods that I don't like. So I'm just like, who's like vetting this Whole Food system? So anyways, what?
They need to have you on their board.
I know, they really do. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you could, but a lot of people don't have access to clean beauty stores. So my number one tip, it's very simple, very easy, non-daunting, conceptually speaking. Putting it into action, it takes a little bit of effort. But I would say my number one tip, which is for clean beauty, personal care, home products, everything, is to avoid fragrance. And so that is listed exactly as fragrance on the label. It'll say parfum, fragrance, perfume, whatever. Anytime you see that, I would put whatever it is back and just choose something else. The thing is with fragrance, it's a black box of ingredients. It's like saying what's in this. It's like, oh, it's fruit. It's like, well, which fruit? Like, it's like a category. It's not an actual ingredient. And so the reason that they're allowed to do that is because there was a fair trade and packaging law passed in like the 1950s. And basically why that was passed is because like if John down the street was making a fragrance and Jane down the street was like looking at the ingredients, she could just make the same fragrance and like steal it. And so they're like, okay, well, you guys don't have to put on the label what it is. So then you can have your proprietary, ingredient list and, keep your business as it is. Well, over time it's evolved to just kind of be like a place where either people are stuffing or hiding ingredients. Like if you pick up a bottle of Tide or anything off those shelves in Shaw's or something, sometimes you won't even see an ingredient list at all on it, which is Dreft. What is that, baby lotion, Dreft or something? That doesn't even have an ingredient list on it. By the way, don't use that. So anyways, here's the thing. In 2015, the International Fragrance Association, the IFRA, conducted a survey to all, so they distribute fragrance components to fragrance houses. So fragrance houses who are going to make fragrance, they buy all their components from the IFRA. So IFRA has a registry or a list of all the components that they sold that in 2015. It's 3,999 components. And we're talking about things like styrene, which is a suspected carcinogen. We're talking about things like phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors. We're talking about isolates like linalool, which can cause respiratory issues, depression, nervous system, the whole nine. So like the thing is, all 3,999, which by the way, that was 5 years ago. So it's probably even so much more now. They're all not like that. Like some are probably essential oils, some are probably benign, but like there are things in there that we don't know what are in there. And so if you can eliminate that one thing from your house, you'll be eliminating like 90% of like the bad things, because the other part of that scenario is if a company formulates with fragrance, they probably don't have respect for the rest of their ingredient list as well. And so it's like a good kind of red flag to look for, and you don't even have to know anything about any of the other ingredients. You see that, you put it back. And so the thing is, it can be hidden in a lot of places that you wouldn't expect, like trash bags have fragrance in them. Next time you take a trash bag out of your trash bag box, smell it. Diapers, fragrance. Then the usual suspects, like, you know, candles, air fresheners, deodorants, all that stuff, but then also laundry products, dryer sheets, all those things. So if you spend the next couple of weeks like looking for fragrance around the house, that'll be like a huge eye opener.
Well, I think the big thing too is if they were using essential oils or things like that, companies now, they want to put what essential oil they're using. I would think, just rather than just saying fragrance, because it's such a broad term. And it's just so scary to me that the FDA is not regulating what that is. Like, what does that mean? And I know, like, you look at the EU, and I want to hear about this California policy that you mentioned earlier, because I always look at the EU, like they have 1,500 or 1,100 products banned that you can't even use. You can't label as fragrance and all sorts of different things. And then here we have what, like 13 or 15 now, and it's mind blowing. So what is this thing that you mentioned earlier in California? Have they put some stricter guidelines up, or
no, you've probably seen it. It's like the Prop 65 warning label. So like if you buy, for example, like cacao powder from like, I've seen this in Sprouts, it'll say like warning on it, and then it'll say like Prop 65 like may contain lead, which because it's like mineral based or whatever. But they just have like warnings for like the unearthed paste, like my kids use earth paste, toothpaste, but there's like a Prop 65 warning on that or something. So it's just like California's like a little bit more strict than the rest of the country.
They would, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean the rest of the country should use it, so I don't know, follow them. But like they're like uber strict. Like I know, like the Berkey water filter that I use, I think they won't even you can't ship the Berkey water filter to California or something weird like that. So it's a little bit too much. I don't know what it is, but
because I think that's like one of the best water filtration systems.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next question is, in the household, like 5 things, even outside of clean beauty, I know that's kind of your niche, but like what are 5 products that you recommend people start going clean? Like maybe doing some more research on those 5 specific things.
Yeah, I mean, I would just go broad there. So if you're talking about your environment in general, it's basically what's going to have the biggest impact, right? So it's like your water. Water is life source. I mean, we need to drink it to stay alive. And so the problem with water is that it's a shit show. And like the EWG, Environmental Working Group database, has like they have a tap water database where you can go and actually put in your zip code. Did you do it?
Yeah. Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying. So like I put in my zip code, there was like 8 carcinogens listed and 7 additional, concerning ingredients. So anyways, filter the tap water, or spring water is a good option because it's been naturally filtered by our earth. Findaspring.org is a fun resource to use. They will tell you like where springs are locally. But like, yeah, I would say water. I mean, use it to cook, you coffee, drink it, like everything. So if you can get a whole house filter, that would be awesome. I don't have one. I would love one. That's number 1. Number 2, I would say get an air filter. The same thing, like,
filters, or what do you use?
I actually don't have one yet. So we've moved 3 times in the past 3 years, and I don't know, I haven't even been able to do it yet. But when I do buy one, I'm going to buy in Austin, because I've heard from like the allergy moms that that's like one of the best ones.
Austin.
Yeah, Austin air filter. But that's good because like we can't control what's, the VOCs in our paint and the fire retardants in our couches and like all this stuff coming from everywhere. And those air filters won't eradicate mold, for example, but they will eradicate a lot of other bad stuff in your air quality. So I would say those 2 things, number 1. And then, just look at like any sort of air freshener where you have like those plugins or candles or I don't know what else people car trees, like stuff like that. Like, no, just use, I love using like an essential oil diffuser. That's really fun. And, like,
Yeah.
I don't like promote any specific essential oil brand, but I know like doTERRA has some beautiful blends. Like I love their Breathe blend is really pretty. And like sometimes I'll just get like an orange essential oil and just diffuse that. It's really nice. So anyways, yeah. And then so water filter, air purifier. I would say an all-purpose cleanser is huge because, you know, I use one thing to clean my entire house. And so like whatever you're using to clean your entire house, wiping down surfaces and stuff like that, especially if you have kids, like touching surfaces, never washing their hands, like you want to make sure that's legit. I use Force of Nature, which is basically salt, water, and vinegar, and then it like gets electrolyzed in this kit, and then it's as strong as bleach. It's like a registered EPA disinfectant. I mean, it's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I love it. And the refills are just this little vial, and it costs 80 cents. And like, I mean, the carbon footprint is so small. So anyways, that's a whole other topic. But, and the last thing I would say would just be like, anything that you use, people are like, oh, what should I switch first? You know, like my lotion, my makeup. For each person, it's going to be different. So it's just like whatever you use the most. If you don't wear makeup, then obviously switching out your makeup isn't going to be as impactful. But like if you use body lotion every night, I would do that. Or if you put body lotion on your kids every night after their bath, like look at that. You know, something that you use all the time.
One of my first ones I did was deodorant, just because I was like, it's like right on my lymph nodes and close to your breast tissue. And so that was one of the first things that I switched over because I don't usually wear much makeup.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have a question about is really, I feel like people should wear sunscreen because we're outside, we're driving, we get exposed to so many of the UV rays, which I think is damaging our skin. It also ages us quicker, increase our risk for skin cancer. But when I've looked at different sunscreens, like even outside of makeup, a lot of the more natural ones are really thick. Like they're more like zinc oxide. And so I wanted to ask you, because your skin always looks perfect and light, do you wear sunscreen every day? Do you do a makeup that's blended with sunscreen, or have you found any natural sunscreens to wear?
Okay, I don't have any on right now. However, I do have a favorite one. I think there's two categories here that get confused. So there's the category of like beach wear, where you're gonna wear something heavy on your skin because everyday wear for sunscreen is not going to be heavy enough for the beach and you're going to get burned. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you're putting on this light lotion that says 30, it's like when I go to the beach, I'm like putting on an industrial, like, you know, Think Sport, Badger, All Good, like something that's really kind of heavy and thick. That's what I'm putting on my face. Then I'm putting a hat on. Then I'm putting sunglasses on. So I mean, that's the beach. We're talking every single day when you're like, you're talking about the commute to and from work. That's when you have exposure. Other than that, maybe you go outside at lunch for a walk or something. You don't need the industrial strength. So I love, my favorite one right now, actually I have it right here. This Fit Glow Beauty. It's SPF 30.
I love that one. Yes. I love that company.
Yeah. Yeah. So their SPF is awesome. It's like a white cream. So you would do your facial routine, and then this would be the last thing that you would put on over your moisturizer. You could try it as a moisturizer, but I personally need more moisture than this, and it dries down matte. Sometimes with SPFs, like they dry and then they're greasy. You know,
yeah,
this one isn't. So look, it's like totally.
And then you put makeup on top of it if you wear makeup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that one. That's awesome. Are you gonna send out a recap? So we can send out a recap. I'll see if there's a few things. I know Lisa has a few products that she recommends on her website that are awesome. So we'll find a little recap, and then you'll also get a replay. So if you want to re-listen to the replay, it will be coming out, Heather. So I know this is a lot of information. Okay, so we talked about, what about like apps? What is your thought on using apps to help kind of navigate the clean beauty? Have you found any of them to be really beneficial?
I personally don't use them because it's my job to like look up ingredients and know what I'm talking about. However, that being said, I'm just saying like I don't have a really good layperson's consumer perspective on it. However, I know that they're flawed, but that being said, they're better than nothing. Like they're gonna give you kind of like a compass to go off of, where it's like if it says 9, you know it's probably not good. If it's kind of in that 4 range, then you maybe want to think like, oh well, why did it get a 4? Which ingredient is it? Then you can look at the ingredient and be like, maybe Google it and be like, oh, well, it's only bad if it's like inhaled for respiratory, but this is a creamy sunscreen, so that's, you know what I mean? Because it's an algorithm that kind of like rates everything. So if it sees an ingredient, it's gonna like kick it into a certain category. So I would get it better than nothing for sure.
Do you know anything between like Think Dirty or Environmental Working Group, Skin Database? Like, is there one that you think's better, or?
I tend to use the EWG one. I just use their website, type it in. So I'll type in like, but mostly I don't do it for products. I mostly do it for ingredients. So I'll type in, say, for example, like EWG. I'll type in like EWG potassium sorbate and then see what comes up and then like see what studies they've linked to and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I don't know as much as you do. So I use the Environmental Working Group. They have that Skin Deep app that you can like scan. So I always feel like I'm like, it like makes you scared to buy anything. Like you literally have to really research what you're doing because we have so many toxins in all of our even clean beauty. And you can't just believe labels anymore. Like if something says it's all natural or clean, or they used vitamin E for hydrate, it's not. It's like that's one ingredient of 25 toxic chemicals. And so it has been eye-opening to me using that and just seeing like the scores that are coming back. It's just scary. So I think you're like a huge resource. I go to your website all the time.
Thanks.
This next question is kind of subjective, but how much, like you've been on this journey for a while, your skin, we're talking about how you're just aging like Benjamin Button without Botox or anything. How much of it, like if you were to put a percentage, do you feel like is how you're eating and hydrating versus beauty products?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like I would say, all right, I'm no doctor. You're a doctor.
Yeah.
Like I would say, like the gut skin connection is intense, right? So it's like if somebody has acne or you're dealing with skin issues, probably 95% of the time it's related to gut issues. And so maybe you're eating something that you're allergic to, or maybe you're getting some inflammation from something you're eating or something like that. So like you can't control that by putting vitamin E on your skin. Like that's not going to fix it. But there are some things that we can put on our skin that can enhance the external. So it's like, it's in tandem, right? So you got to attack it from both sides. And so like, for example, some things that you can put on the outside of your skin that are awesome. Recently, I discovered this ingredient called sea garden crest liposomes, and it literally inhibits future melanin production. And so like, that's your hyperpigmentation. And so, when now that green beauty's been around for a while, we're seeing a lot of green beauty, clean beauty. Like they'll take algae and then infuse that with like cutting edge science and being able to like extract that one thing that you can now put. It's like every day there's new ingredients coming out. So, I mean, you'll see a difference with something like that. Retinol is like amazing. We already talked about that. Then there's like carrot seed oil, which literally prevents sun damage. Literally.
The oil.
Yeah. And then there's like a ton of anti-inflammatory oils like licorice root, red raspberry seed oil, things that you can put on your skin that will take the inflammation down from the outside. So it's not all one way or the other. It's like you kind of work it in both things. But there are some things that can help make your skin look better. And there are some things that can not help your skin look better. Like there are some phototoxic ingredients that if you use during the day, they're harmful to your skin that a lot of people don't know about it, like cold pressed lemon oil, mandarin essential oil, carrot essential oil, things like that. If you see that in your ingredient list, don't use it. And the problem is a lot of people who are formulating these things are not pros. And so they're just doing it because somebody told them to do it, but they don't know. You know what I mean? And so it's like you really need to be the master of your experience.
So like carrot seed oil is really good for you, but carrot extract.
Carrot essential oil, not so much.
Yeah. And so like for us, if we don't know enough, we're like, oh, this is carrot. Like it's got carrot in it. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I do. I think that so many things, like I always, when I'm talking to my patients, I'm like, are you doing the basics? Like, are you drinking water? Are you eating enough vegetables throughout the day? Have you followed an anti-inflammatory diet at the same time as doing everything with your skin? But I think for you, even like thinking of having a clean lifestyle and then getting into the clean beauty, you've seen so many transformations in your skin by using these products. So I think there definitely is something to having a really good routine, which is what I want to hear from you. And I know this is not all going to be just related to your skin, but like, what does your morning and night routine look like? Kind of walk us through what you do when you first wake up and before you go to bed.
It's kind of an S show. Like at this point in time, I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. Like there's no routine specifically. Hi, honey, I'm on the phone. Thank you. So like when I get up in the morning, the only thing that I do that's kind of a non-negotiable, I set my alarm for 6:36. I don't know why. It's just the time that I picked. And I wake my kids up at 6:45. So for those 7 minutes or whatever it is, I wash my face. Like I just go to the bathroom. I like kind of wake up. I do a quick face massage. When I can feel fresh on my face, I feel fresh like for the rest of the world. Like, you know, Rachel Hollis's new book, I know you read it, Girl Wash Your Face. I'm like,
Yeah.
Perfect title. Exactly. Go wash your face and feel so much better. So it just helps me like wake up. It's like a one small thing that I do. After that, I mean, it can be 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh shoot, I still haven't even taken my multivitamin yet, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then I don't really have a night routine. I mean, I wash my face every single night, which by the way, it's not what I always did. I went through all of high school, all of college, a lot of my adult life, never really washing my face at night. Once I got into clean beauty and I saw what a difference it made with my skin, I like enjoy it now. It's like my ritual. I love putting on a mask or just like doing a face massage and just using my products and just like smelling it all and using it. And so that's my routine morning and night. And as far as clean beauty goes, I wash my face and that's just my non-negotiable.
With oil, both morning and night, always.
So I like use oils pretty much for everything. So I wash my face with oil. I like moisturize my face with oil. Like my moisturizers look like this. They're oil. Yeah. And so that alone, like one time I did an Instagram post, I was like, you know, that old Maybelline commercial is like, maybe she's born with it. Like, maybe it's Maybelline. I was like, maybe she's born with it. I was like, no, it's just the oils. Like literally oils have made like such a difference with my skin for sure. So
I would say oils that work better for you than others. Like, do you use jojoba or what do you use
to clean my skin?
Mm-hmm. Like, what are you using? I'm sure you change it all the time.
Oh my God. Well, I feel bad because people always ask me, what do you use? And I'm like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because it's every day I get a new package. So it's like kind of trying to manage. But I mean, I definitely use things where I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. I wish I had something down here to show you. But right now, I actually love like a balm, like a cleansing balm. And so what that does is like, it's like a stiff oil. And so it just adds a little bit more grip and it's just kind of like a little bit nicer to use. But I like, you know, right now I'm using the Pie cleanser. I love the Leolani cleanser. It's yeah, Leolani one's good. It's called pamplemousse, which means grapefruit in France, and it smells so good. You add a little bit of water to your fingertips, then it milks up because it has an emulsifier in it, and also has like papaya in it, which acts as a light enzyme exfoliator. I mean, it's just like you can start going into the cleansers, and they're awesome. I mean, I don't want to talk over people's heads. You guys can always DM me or email me for recommendations. But
will you write your email in this chat box? And what you can, if you don't mind people reaching out to you, because I think a lot of people are going to have questions about specific products. So I want them to be able to reach out. Okay, so you're a mom, you just mentioned, of 2 boys. You have your business, This Organic Girl. You just hired your first employee or contractor at 20 hours a week. You've got tell us about the Clean Beauty Test Kitchen, because I think this is so cool.
Yeah, so Clean Beauty Test Kitchen is my latest business. It's a new concept business that I've started, and basically, I believe it's the only consulting business for clean beauty brands in this space. It's a B2B business, and if you don't know, that means business to business. I just learned that phrase recently, so it's cool saying it. Business to business. So what brands can do is send a prototype to the test kitchen, and what I do is I hand pick a panel of experts to test out the product, and then we take all of our feedback and provide it to the brand in aggregate so that they can, you know, reformulate or tweak as necessary to like really take advantage of what the market wants. So it's kind of fun, and we're doing that. And then we're also doing like multi-influencer brand awareness campaigns. So I'm kind of just taking my network that I've developed over the past few years and really using it to the brand's advantage too. A lot of brands don't know how to work with influencers, and they don't really know how to spend their money, and I do, and I want to. So
I think that is just brilliant. I'm so excited. And then it's not like just you on the test kitchen, like you have a panel of people that you send it out to. So you're getting different opinions and experts, and you've just built this awesome network, and it's been so exciting. I just can't wait to see the website once it launches and everything.
Me too. Thank you.
So with all these different things that you have going on, how do you time manage? Like, are you somebody that does, like, I know we've talked about a few times on here, like time batching? Are you somebody that has a goal of like 1 blog per week, 3 Instagram posts? Like, how do you juggle your schedule?
Okay, well, you've definitely seen me cry about this before, so I'm no pro. I'm going to say that. I kind of just fly by the seat of my pants, and I just do whatever I need to do that day. That's where I am at the stage of my life. I look at my calendar, I'm like today, I was like, okay, so I have this webinar tonight. I want to do a little bit of research. Like, that's my main thing. If I get that done, then I'm like successful for the day. And then tomorrow hits, and I'm like, okay, I have to do this one thing. But that's not a great way to live, and it stresses me out. and it's not good. But I just actually recently, I'm like, discovered Planoly, a planning platform or pre-scheduling platform for Instagram. I know they have different ones like Plan and I don't know, there's a couple other ones. And that's been awesome. So like on Monday, I'll take 2 or 3 hours and schedule out the week for Instagram. And then that's great because it really just like frees me up mentally. And so now I'm like, oh my God, what else can I batch? So batching like really is so helpful. But I can't batch write blog posts. Like if I can write one post in a sitting, I'm like, oh my God, wow.
That's huge.
But I know some people can batch write posts. They're like, if I take 3 hours, I can write 3 blog posts. I'm like, that's not me. So yeah, I'm still experimenting with that. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that block scheduling would be so good for me. Kristin knows I have like a rebel personality. And so like I've been butting it in my head. Like one side of my head is telling me to do it. And the other side of my head is telling me to like, just don't do it. And I'm like living in this limbo space. So anyways, all that to say, it's a constant thing that I'm dealing with. I really don't know what gets done around here.
Do you always check emails at the same time of the day, or do you just kind of check them all day?
It's a free-for-all. It is a straight up free-for-all on this side of the computer. And like, I just wish I was like, I'm only going to check emails at 6 p.m. and that's it. And that's the way it should be because like I get so many emails, but I'm really excited to bring somebody on to like help me kind of like manage and free me up to do like the important work instead of
take over your emails and then just consolidate the things that she needs your answers and then just go through them.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing that email, like I always feel like for me at the beginning of opening Stat, I was so reactive all day with emails. I was never getting anything done. Like I would work 18 to 20 hours and I was like, I got nothing off my to-do list done because I was being reactive all day long. And I don't know if any of you guys listening feel that way, but it's sometimes really daunting when you just like are responding to things all day long and not feeling like you're having time to be innovative. And so that's why like time batching has helped for me, but you just have to figure out what works for you. It's different for everybody. So maybe your rebellion is actually what works the best for you. Maybe you like that, like, even though you think you don't like it, maybe you really like that kind of working on whatever is the most pressing thing at the time for that day. And that's how you thrive the best.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Somebody needs to tell me what's going on in my head so I can figure it out.
Well, I think at the very least, you should start with like one thing at a time, like doing like, just one thing at a time and not blocking out everything. Cause I think that can be daunting.
Yeah.
So personally, do you have any like favorite books or quotes or podcasts or like, where do you go for inspiration? Cause you're inspiration for so many people.
Yeah. I'm kind of like an obsessive type of personality. So like with this blog, if I'm not writing a blog post, I'm listening to a blog podcast. Like I'm going to pick up my kids and I'm like right in the car, like, okay, yeah, let's talk about SEO. I love it. That's what I do all day long. But sometimes when I feel like I'm going to explode because I'm like, oh my God, I need a break. I'm on overload. I love listening to the Modern Love podcast. Have you ever listened to it?
No, I'm putting it on my list too.
It's real life stories of love, loss, and redemption. And it's a column in the New York Times that has been live for over 15 years. And they had an Amazon show come on about it. They made 8 episodes of it last season, like last fall. Like Anne Hathaway was in it, and the Tina Fey, like bigger people were like in it. Anyways, there's like over 300 episodes, and it's really cool because they'll have somebody famous who's like on Broadway right now read the essay. And so it's somebody totally different reading the essay, and then they comment about the essay, and then the editor comments about why he picked the essay. And it's just like, oh, and they do a follow-up. They find the person, like, you wrote this essay 10 years ago. What's going on now? And so it's a podcast, but it's also a column in the New York Times, and it's also a show too. But the podcast, I've done all 3. The podcast is like where it's at. Collagen supplements and powders. Maybe Kristin can answer that. I feel like I've taken them and I haven't really seen a difference. But
I think it depends on the person and the diet. I think one, like I know Lisa really likes protein. So like you get a lot of protein and amino acids, which is great. I think that you do have to take collagen consistently for 3 months to notice improvement, and vitamin C can help you absorb it better. So I think just taking collagen by itself may not make a big difference if you have a lot of amino acids. I know for me, when I took it for 3 months, my nails were growing so fast. I was like trimming them like every night. So like I saw that with my nails, but I think it depends on the person. But if you give it a try, I would suggest doing it for 3 months and then see if you notice a difference. And if you don't, then I would just stop it.
Yeah.
And you notice it with like skin, hair, joints, nails, those type of things, or like gut function, some of those symptoms.
So what do you recommend taking a vitamin C supplement along with it?
So sometimes I even mix, like if I put collagen in a smoothie, I will naturally put vitamin C with it. So I'll squeeze lemon in there or put strawberries, something that naturally has vitamin C. I usually don't supplement with vitamin C with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Modern Love is like kind of my escape. And then like for like a wellness podcast, I actually love One Part Plant. She kind of like does a little bit of everything, mental health, or one time I listened to, it's called One Part Plant by Jessica Murnane. And one time she did an episode on how to have conversations around grief. And it was just so fantastic. It was like stuff that like nobody really talks about. I don't know. I love listening to stuff like when I'm going to go, I like listen to things like so opposite of what I like do every day. Just like about a little.
That is why I love including that question, because I feel like every single person has told me a new podcast that I need to listen to.
Yes.
It's like, there is so many podcasts and so much education and information out there. It just like blows my mind.
It's mind blowing.
And while we talk about your last kind of question, because I'm excited to talk about this one because I know you've traveled a lot. Anybody that has questions, go ahead and start commenting in the box and we'll kind of get through those so we can make sure we answer any questions you guys have. But I wanted to kind of end it with your favorite vacation, because since I've known you, you've taken several vacations. And so like, what is your favorite vacation that you can think of and why?
Okay, well, we just started traveling again. I mean, your perception of me is a little bit skewed because we just started traveling again. This will be our third summer. So, but before that, like we had little kids, like we didn't do it, and the grandparents wouldn't watch the kids because they were too little. So, but we went to. Say it again.
I like my skewed perception. I'm like, man, Lisa's like in Morocco and Iceland, and
I know, like Morocco is amazing. I was gonna say Morocco just because it's like totally different culture and like when we went to Morocco, so we stayed inside the Medina, which is basically like you have this huge 40-foot wall that goes around the city, and that's called inside the Medina. But then there's also people that live outside the big 40-foot wall too, and that's just like there'll be like nicer hotels, I'll say. But once you're inside the Medina, you feel like you're literally hundreds of years transported back in time. There's like the bread man delivering a loaf of breads on a donkey with like a cart dragging behind him with just a loaf stacked on there open and like throwing loaves into people's houses. I mean, like old school, cats running around everywhere. And, you know, the Medina's like all these little routes like this. So we checked into our raid, which is like kind of a indoor outdoor house. It's like where you stay. And in the middle of the raid, there's always usually like a plunge pool. So it's beautiful tiles everywhere. She's like, drop your stuff and we'll go down to the center of the Medina and I'll show you how to get there. So we're like, okay, well, I didn't know we were going down there right now, but I guess we are. So it was me, my sister, my husband, dropped our stuff, go back down. She's like, let's go. Leave the front door. Now we're like walking through all these alleyways. She goes, you see that green door? When you get to the green door, you take a left. So we're like, go through this. She's like, you see that moon sign right there? Like Spice Market with a moon. She goes, you see that? You take a right, take a left, take a right. Seriously, 20 freaking minutes. We finally get to the middle of the Medina. She goes, now tell me how to get home. Me and my sister were like, spice cart, take a left. Like we had to repeat back to her how to get home because one of the thing is inside the Medina, one of the biggest scams for tourists is because you get lost easily. Kids will come up to you, people will come up to you, oh, let me help you get home. They get you lost. Then you have to pay them to actually get back to where you want to go. And so we start all the time like, oh, you need help? Oh, that way's closed. I'm like, no, it's not. I know it's open. I was just here an hour ago. And they're like, they like laugh when you call them out. They're like, oh yeah, it's not.
Money.
Yeah. Anyways, do you want to give me some money? So, yeah, I mean, it was just like transported back into a different life. The food was really good and all that stuff. So I would say that was like amazing. And then we did Iceland last summer, which is like an organic haven. I mean, from the air to the water, like you hit up a waterfall and you can just put your water bottle in the base of the waterfall, fill it up and drink it. I mean, it's all glacier water. It's so pure. So, I mean, they
photos from
sell like canned air at the airport for like a souvenir and bring it home. Canned air. Yeah, they do. I mean, I'm sure it's like not good. It's been sitting in a can at that point, but like that's how much people talk about how good their air is.
And Iceland's really expensive, right?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. It's like cheap to get to. Like you can fly there cheaply, a couple $100. But then like a bowl of soup is like $30. I mean, if you're used to living in like LA or like Atlanta, Buckhead, we weren't like, oh my God, we're poor. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like New York City prices, put it that way.
Well, it's because they have such, I mean, they're hard to get to, right? Like they don't have a lot of the stuff right there on the island. They have to import it in, or they have to like charge a lot for their products, right?
Yeah. So like the lamb stew, you know, is like local because it's like lamb from the island. And then, you know, like stuff like that is like really organic and local and delicious. They do have a lot of restaurants that do local fare like that. But one interesting story, like, so they didn't even allow beer into the country until 1986. 86.
Wow.
It's because like in the 1920s, like when Prohibition was going on, not everybody, but there was a huge like depression issue in Iceland because it's so dark all the time. And so they were just like, okay, we're going to curb the depression. Nobody can drink alcohol. And they put a ban on all alcohol, everything.
Wine too?
Yeah, like back in the 20s. So like literally nobody could drink at all. Like there was no bars, nothing. And then all of a sudden Spain was like, you're not going to buy our wine? We're not going to buy your fish. And they're like, okay, well, wine's fine. So we'll do wine. That's cool. But like they never actually, and then that happened with like everything, like vodka from Russia, blah, 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 blah. But it never happened with beer. And beer finally got like reapproved back into the country in 1986.
What did they trade for? Was there anything that made them decide to bring beer back, or just ridiculous?
Probably economy. You know, tourism is their number one moneymaker over there. So now that beer's here, now they can do like a microbrewery. They can do Iceland-centered beer with like Iceland water, you know, which is like huge. They do the Iceland vodkas with the Iceland troll distilled lava vodka or whatever. So yeah,
I'm gonna put it back on my list. It sounds like a great place to go.
Yeah, my chiropractor is going. He's like, I saw you go, I'm going.
Yeah. Oh, the pictures look so fun. Well, before we wrap up, does anybody else have any questions? We're coming right at an hour. Lisa, this was incredible. I know you put your email on there. Will you also, your website's just thisorganicgirl.com, right?
Yeah.
So you guys check out her website, email her, check her out on Instagram as well at thisorganicgirl. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great Tuesday night. Thank you, Lisa. This was awesome, and replay will be going out.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
All right, bye.